This is V. V is you. You, as V, are a denizen of Night City, a dystopian city-state in Cyberpunk 2077.
V, you there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the majority of folks, V lives on the wrong side of the city's absurdly wide wealth gap. In the shadow of these tech giants vying for control over Night City, its people live in squalor. I imagine daily life in this Peter Thielian nightmare world looks something like this. Wake up, stress about how you're going to pay rent, stress about how you're going to eat, go to your low-wage job, worry about some new corpo bullshit that'll further decimate your quality of life. Are we still talking about the future?
Fucking sucker scums everywhere. Hey, I was listening to that. Shut up.
Trying to keep your head down so you don't become a statistic at the hands of some gang, some corrupt cop, some regular cop, some suit. And maybe you'll close out the day fighting to hang on to that sliver of hope that someday you'll find your crumb of peace amid all this chaos. But hey, the neon-strewn cityscape looks amazing in the rain. You know, views like this aren't really accessible to the average person. V can do this because V has the right cyberware, the right chrome. V has the right chrome because being V is very lucrative. Now, lots of people don't have money. Most, actually, but some do, and they still aren't doing all this. That's because most people, even those with a little extra walking around then straight up a building money, are not trying to break rules, defy norms. V doesn't care about those rules. V trespasses as they please, goes wherever they want, does whatever they want, because V is a mercenary. Mercs don't follow the rules. But even the mercenaries and the fixers and the other no-gooders have lines they don't cross, unless they want to end the day with more holes than they woke up with, probably in some aesthetically pleasing, rain-slicked alleyway. V, again, doesn't care about any lines. Stealing stuff, killing people, trespassing, hacking things, killing people, boosting cars, reckless driving, killing people. V gets away with it all. That doesn't mean V is just cruising through life. V's got a huge Keanu Reeves-shaped problem, actually. They got this fancy Arasaka chip rotting them from the inside out. No matter what V does, this digital sword of Damocles hangs precariously over their head. But V's got a solution to that too. It's actually a pretty simple one. It's called never meeting Hanako at Embers. One of the most common gripes players have with Cyberpunk 2077, and there are many, is the marked separation between V as they exist in the main questline and the V that goes on a player-directed rampage as part of the open-world Night City experience. I'm personally big on the idea that every contract the player has with the game includes indulging in some dissonance, of the ludonarrative variety or some other. Dissonance isn't inherently detrimental. Actually, it's the spice that makes most games what they are, intentionally or not. When different facets or mechanics of a game argue with one another, when they have ostensibly different goals, a kind of meta-narrative forms. The most obvious example is the average open-world game, where it's often pretty easy to notice the dissonance between a main questline that grounds the protagonist and the open-world experience that worships them like a god. Well then, what's a meta-conversation Cyberpunk 2077 cares about? I have no idea. The main questline paints V as a victim of the system, trapped in a cage where intense structural violence is a constant. They seek glory as a mercenary in the hope of freeing themselves from their chains, finding the means to save their life while simultaneously finding meaning in their life. Their principles are pretty straightforward. Prioritize themselves, their circle, and survive at any cost. Their choices lead to them taking on the most dangerous jobs for a sliver of a crumb of a chance to escape their reality. Night City V lives on the flip side. Their NC experience falls somewhere in between slum tourism and sniper tourism. Night City V, the more honest expression of you, the player, has signed that player-game contract. And that contract, in contrast, makes you the freest person in Night City. It encourages you to live by a perverted version of V's code because theirs doesn't really apply in this new environment. You could pretend it's surrendering fully to the dog-eat-dog dynamics nurtured by the system V lives under, but out in Night City, the awful material conditions influencing V's decisions and the like are replaced by the power fantasy-minded systems that Cyberpunk 2077, and especially its open world, hosts. Out here, you don't need to do much surviving. Suffering through life, that's something that happens to other people. Money, safety, those are main questline V issues. Brain Eater relic issues too. You're thriving in Night City. Self-preservation develops into self-serving assholery, not out of any necessity, but purely for the love of the game and the loot. You're encouraged to use V as a vessel to pursue power, taking more and more to use against your fellow people for your own personal gain. You are a meddlesome god, playing around the rules of Cyberpunk 2077, not the rules of Night City. Night City V doesn't eat, so you don't have to buy food. Night City V doesn't need a place to sleep, nor do you owe rent on your half a dozen properties. You don't need to pay for insurance on the dozens of vehicles you own. You don't need to work crappy, humiliating jobs for money. All you have to do is exercise your free will and the money just comes. And that money you spend on whatever you want. It's virtually 100% luxuries. And if the sound of money being made draws the attention of the law, you can just make a few turns and hop on the train, or head home without fear that anyone's gonna come knocking. Then you can just head back out because Night City forgives and forgets all once the music stops. Night City V is completely untethered from the high-tech low-life hellscape everyone else is in, so there can be no real consequences, no meaningful gameplay ramifications to ground you, no thematic strings that can be pulled to weave you back into the text. The player finally decides to meet Hanako at Embers, and they get to pick one of several endings, none of them involving a working cure. They each hone in on the philosophical. V struggles with their identity, their mortality, their legacy. With time running out, what matters most to your V? What meaning do they want their life to have? With those questions racing through their mind, they go shoot up Arasaka Tower, or themselves. After that, one of several things can happen. V lives out their last few months with their new nomad family, V becomes an immortal cyberspace entity and gives their body to Johnny Silverhand, or V continues massaging their merc legend. But these endings, again, are tailored to main questline V, the V fighting for every breath, whose time is running out. Not the V with the freedom to abuse the tools of Cyberpunk 2077 and ignore the alarm bells without consequence, the one the player inhabits most frequently and honestly. What would it take to truly hold that V accountable to? Enter Phantom Liberty. Hanako won't mind if we take another quick detour. The expansion sees V heading to the sub-district of Dogtown looking for a potential cure for their dying problem. V ends up working with FIA sad dad Solomon Reed and NUSA girl boss dictator Rosalind Myers. Who you actually care about is Song So-mi, a dying netrunner who, like V, wants her freedom and her life back. The big choice in Phantom Liberty comes right at the end when you decide to either hand So-mi to the NUSA or help her escape off-world where she can secure a cure for herself and V. But, surprise, she lied. There's only one cure and So-mi's already called dibs. If you're a loving, kind, beautiful, sexy person, like the Steam achievements say the majority of expansion ending getters are, you help her anyway. V knows what she's been through, they've been through the same thing. But if you're suffering from main character syndrome, you turn her in, and in exchange, Reed offers you the one and only cure in the game. This is the only way to unlock the new ending that Phantom Liberty adds to Cyberpunk 2077, the Tower. I actually like the Tower a lot. I mean, I'd also never pick it again, but for the first time I felt like the game, maybe, glances in Night City V's general direction. V wakes up in 2079. They've been in a coma for the past 2 years. The operation was a success. The relic is gone, Johnny's out of their head, and the doomsday counter has stopped. It's a beautiful day outside. You can hardly believe a place like this exists in the same universe as Night City. You make calls to each one of your friends. You call Judy. She's happily married in Chicago now. You try Pan Am. Mitch tells you she never wants to see you again. Carrie's too busy being a superstar. River's too ashamed of what he's become. Everyone, in some way, has moved on without you. Victor's still around, though. And it's not just your relationships that have deteriorated, so has your body. After 2 years in a coma, you can't even walk. Your nervous system is also shot. You can't handle serious cyberware anymore. While that is happening, the player is given back control of V, the new, lonely, powerless V. Instead of telling you about consequences, the tower allows you to inhabit this V so you can feel them instead. You drag yourself around your hamster cage while you try to contend with your new reality, that the player's place in this world is quickly disappearing. Eventually, you head back to Night City, where Victor confirms that your life as a chromed-out merc is officially over. That means no more impromptu city watching like this, no more terrorizing the streets like this. As you leave the area, the final time you're in control of V, you're accosted by some level 1 thugs. They lock you in a friendly conversation and it's surreal. How many times have you done worse for some quick loot, for the cops, for no reason at all? After a whole playthrough of being the bully, having all the freedom and using everybody else like a punching bag, your reward is a total reversal. This is entirely subjective, but part of me does feel like the tower is speaking to me directly, punishing me for indulging too deeply in the power fantasy out in Night City, then allowing those experiences to poison V in the main questline. This scene is humiliating, and unlike any other ending, I desperately wanted to take over one last time and show these losers who they're messing with, but I can't. This isn't my V. They don't have my weapons and skills and stats and cyberware. The game won't even let me try. V has already excised me the same way they excised Johnny. No longer are they a vessel for the player to play God. Night City V is dead. Has the game even earned the right to wag its finger at the player like this? I think a lot of people would say no. After all, the game's systems are built around this power fantasy. Living your dream life as a chaotic neutral to evil god in Night City is a major selling point of the game. The open world experience exists, dissonance and all, presumably because CD Projekt believed as this massive commercial product, it had to. Instead of being complementary, two sides of a coin, tackling some central theme from both directions, the experiences of our two dear Vs undermine one another. V is the victim of one system but the god of another, and both systems just ignore each other. But for one brief moment, I felt like they were in conversation. V smiles. They're finally free from their curse, free from the player. They walk off into the crowd as a regular denizen of Night City, the first time ever since the player took control. But now they gotta pay rent.